Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. Apologies for the absence. I did not mean to take as long a break as I did. It was unintentional. I got the results from my sleep study. There's not a lot to say about it, to be honest with you. They basically sent me a letter that could have been a text message, not even an email. It was one paragraph, it was a run-on sentence, full of typos, and it basically just said your sleep data is really weird. It's strange in a way that we can't easily identify. And that was it. They gave me none of the data. They gave me no hard yeses or nos to any diagnoses. It just said, this is really weird, we're gonna book a follow-up appointment. As you can imagine, after 2 years and then 4 months post-sleep study, for that to be the results is like, I didn't know what to make of it. Even now, 3 weeks later, I still don't know how to talk about it without getting like weirdly emotional, because like the whole thing just had me so incredulous. It's very much giving like the Dewey, I expect nothing and I'm still disappointed meme, because like my whole life I've been burnt like this by the medical system. Like they never know what's wrong with me. They always just go, oh, there is something deeply wrong here. Don't know what it is though. And then I just have to carry on. So I was not surprised, but I was still devastated. Like, to be told that your sleep is too disordered for the sleep clinic is crazy. I have a follow-up appointment. I rang them after I got the letter, I opened it, and I couldn't believe what I was reading, basically. The lack of information in it was honestly kind of insulting. So I rang the reception. She was nasty. It was not a good call, and I was being super chill too. Like, I wasn't angry, I was just confused, but she was not having it. She told me it would be another 6 to 12 months before I got a follow-up appointment, which, you know, did tip me over into a nervous breakdown. Sent them a massive email about how, like, I can't do that, basically. Like, I won't survive it. And I broke down how my symptoms have worsened in the time I've been waiting, all that kind of stuff. Like, under advisement of my shrink, basically, you get to a point where you have to let them know that, like, you're not coping. Like, you don't want to pester them because, you know, the NHS is struggling real bad and it's not really the doctor's faults, but you get to a point where if you stay quiet about it, they just won't progress you forward. So under advisement from my shrink, and against, I guess, my polite instincts, I sent them a massive email. And now I have a follow-up in a couple of weeks, is the long story short. It's gonna be in a week and a half-ish. So we'll see. That's it though. It's really anticlimactic. Somehow still felt like it ruined my life anyway. But we'll see. So I got the letter. That sucked. Went to therapy the next day and my shrink advised they go away for the weekend. So that is how I ended up accidentally taking a break from YouTube and everything. I went away. I realised I could not stay home and just stare at the walls. So I went up north to see my grandparents. And then I've just been kind of catching up and coping ever since. What we'll do, same as always, is just go through my books. There's been some changes, not a full spring spiral, and at this point, to be honest with you, I'm so content in this system. Not the size, because I did change size, but this way of working that I've had kind of like nailed down since my A5 books in September, which is quite some months now. Really proud of myself. Like this method of working through the weeks I've been consistent with since September, as I said. And when I change size, I still keep the system exactly the same, and therefore I don't feel as panicked, I think, about it as I did previously. It's not like I have gaps in the information or I have months where there's no notes being kept. Like, I've had consistent ring notes in some size kept, like, consistently since September, which is an amazing achievement for me personally. I'm really pleased and I'm really relieved more than anything, because obviously with the sleep stuff and the symptoms and things getting worse, it would have been, I would have lost a lot basically. I already have lost a lot, but I would have lost more if I had not been so, I guess, disciplined with these notes, but also just comfortable, and that's nice. So we can go through my Filofax first. I did change into a personal size one, and I'll talk about why at the end. Let's do the A6 and then the Hobonichi, and then we'll go into the other one. But basically, so in my weekly pages, the same as always, I have my kind of like daily log things. Like, I keep track of the stuff I did each day. Mostly for the couple of weeks while I was waiting for the results, I buried myself in my oracle card project. It was definitely just like the distraction and hyperfixation of it, but I was a very willing participant. I did not want to think about any of it. It worked really well as a distraction and also to help push the project forward, so that was cool. I think I might have talked about reading the Foxglove King series. That was really good. I'm waiting very impatiently for the final book in the trilogy. It was totally devastating. Moving on through my to-do list, and then I've just got some pages. I can't remember which bits you've seen, so forgive me if we're going over stuff you have seen. I figured it was safest just to start from the beginning of April. So I've got some notes, and then this is the week that I got the results and went away. I got the results on the Tuesday, had therapy on Wednesday. I was up north by Thursday night. I like fled. I then spent Friday hanging out with my grandparents and my mom. Saturday I got to see my auntie for the first time since her wedding, so that was really nice. When your family is split all across the UK, sometimes the timings just don't work out. It's a lot of driving for everyone. Like, it was great to see her. Sunday we went into the moors, and then I came home that night. I got home quite late, like 11 o'clock, 11:30. So it was just a long weekend, but I think it helped because it broke the initial fixation on the letter and the lack of results and the lack of information, the lack of anything really. I think if I'd stayed home, I would have been so like fixated on it and obsessed with it, and I wouldn't have been able to put it out of my mind. The nice thing about going to hang out with my grandparents is that even though they're retired now, they're busy people, they love to be doing stuff. So when I went up north, they literally just slotted me into their plans, and I just tagged along with them all weekend, basically driving all over the place and sleeping in the car. And I think it helped, you know, just to break that initial shock. But then obviously when I came back, I was just tired and sad, partly because of the letter, partly because I had done so much in such a short space of time, and partly because I then deeply missed my grandparents when I came home. So it was like, did it help? Yes, but also no, I guess. Like, I don't know. So that's why I've been quiet, I guess. I've just been kind of processing everything. My how do you call it? Media tracking for that week is cool because I've been reading some ARCs, some advanced reader copies, thanks to NetGalley. I signed up because I was trying to find the third book in a series for something. Didn't find it, but I did end up reading some other stuff. I got approved for The Gloaming by Dalton, which was fantastic. And I feel like maybe I have talked about this. I can't have done. I haven't uploaded since. Anyway, I read The Gloaming by Dalton, which is so good. It's kind of like a discovery of witches meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets all of the good supernatural detective TV shows from like the early 2000s. I really, really enjoyed it, and that's an ARC. I think it's out in June or July. I'll put it in the description. Super, super good. This was the first book in what I think will be quite a long series, probably. It had quite a chill vibe to it, but it was really fun. I read it in like 2 days. Had a really good time. And I feel like it was enough that you got your like the hooks were sunk into you, and now I'm waiting impatiently for the second book, which won't be out till next year. But I can feel that it's going to be like a really good, comforting sort of vampire staple, and we need more of those. So I'm really excited. I then read Boys with Sharp Teeth. That was so good. That's already out. I applied for the ARC but didn't get it, but I did read it the day it came out. And it was incredible, truly, really spooky, dark academia stuff. Thought they were vampires. It's not vampires. The title is misleading, but it is good in a different spooky way. There is paranormal stuff and it's really fun. There's tarot cards and stuff too, like there's divination, and it's a good time. It's a really good time. It's kind of like the Raven Boys but more sinister. That's how I can describe that, and I would recommend both of those. I was screenshotting the quotes I was highlighting. And then moving through the week, I have a dream journal entry, and then I have this page reflecting on the letter, I guess, and then I have my pictures and stuff and my scraps from the weekend. So the Friday I went with my mum and my grandma to the market they have local to them, and that was cute. And then we walked along the seafront for a couple of hours, and that was really nice. I guess slightly healing, but also, you know, you come home and the stuff you were running from is still there, so it's like, I do feel mixed about it. It was a really nice time though, and I got some nice photos. My grandparents live in Yorkshire now, in Redcar, which is a very sleepy place. The beachfront is beautiful though, and it has a steelworks, which is very reminiscent of parts of Wales. So I saw some oyster catcher birds. My grandparents really love walking along the seafront to this coffee kiosk and getting a hot chocolate, which is really funny to me because my grandparents on my Welsh side, they also do the same thing. They go down to the seafront and they walk for a bit to the kiosk and they get a coffee. So both sets of my grandparents are obsessed with walking to the kiosk. They both have a little kiosk and they love getting a little coffee, and they think it's like the best part of the day. And that's really sweet. And also makes me deeply sad. But I took a lot of photos, basically trying to sort of distract myself and get myself feeling, I guess, more normal, just kind of going through the motions. On Saturday we went to Edinburgh very, very briefly. Did not get to see anything at all. I have nothing to show for it, but I did get a postcard. And then on Sunday we went to the Rydale Folk Museum, which I've been to before a few years ago. That's in Huttonley Hole in the North York Moors. I love driving through the North York Moors. My mum had said to me, like, what do you want to do on Sunday? Do you want to go back over to the sea, or do you want to do something else? And I was like, I really just want to drive through the moors. The moors feel healing for me. That's what I want to do. If we can't go to a bog, even though it's bog season, then I just want to drive through the moors for a bit. So that's what we did. When you get a ticket there, you get an annual pass, so I popped that in my book. Took some photos. They have a model village now. That's been added since the last time I was there, so that's really cool. They have a one-eyed cat who is kind of friendly. They let me pet it, or it let me pet it the first time, and then when I went back to pet it again, even though it was purring, it tried to bite me. So I feel like it's temperamental, very relatable behaviour. But super soft, big grey cat, and I'm fond of creatures with one eye. So after that we went down to Saltburn. I've actually never been down to Saltburn by the sea. Is it by the sea or on the sea? I think it's by the sea. We went to the arcade that my grandmother, I think, has been going to since she was a child. She used to go there with her mother, my great-grandmother. And like, it's just fun because when we go then she talks about the nostalgia of it, and like a lot of the stuff is the same, and it's just neat. I have a ticket. That's the name of the arcade, Selden's Leisure World. They still print paper tickets, which is phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. Most places now have switched over to like the digital tap cards, and they really suck. Like, they're depressing. There's nothing cute about tapping a card in an arcade and not getting anything, like not getting any paper tickets. They also still have a Zoltar machine, also phenomenal, although admittedly I think since the last time I visited when my great-grandmother died, they've swapped it for a newer one. They used to have an old one, I think. I kind of try and track them down wherever I go. I've found a couple in Wales. I found one in, I think, Southsea in Portsmouth, and there's one in Saltburn, but it's a new one, not an old one. Still prints the tickets though. And actually the machine doesn't get jammed in the way that the old ones do, because when I go to the one in Southsea, I think, or Barry Island, when you put the coins in, they get stuck and they get lost in the machine, and then you have to go and get the guy, and he comes in and hits the machine to get the coin back out. So at least it works. Just some photos, some thoughts. Here's the arcade. And I put this picture of all the 2p coins because my grandmother, you might remember this, I think I've spoken about it before, but my grandmother loves the penny pushers. What did she call it? She called it like waterfall slots, I think, but I always call it a penny pusher. And it's the 2p machines. She like always presents bags of 2p pieces with a flourish. And then we will hang around the machine for a long time trying to get stuff out of it. So that's nice. It's something I really associate with her. My return seat reservation for the train, and then I have some pictures of the Saltburn funicular railway. That's what they call it when it's on a cliff, like a cliff railway. It was literally the day before the season started, so when I went I thought I was going to get to go on it, but it opened the next day, so that is devastating. but as my grandmother said, I would just have to go back up before the end of the summer. And then I will get to ride the clifftop train. I've actually never done one. When I was a kid growing up, a lot of the seaside towns that I visited were in disrepair. A lot of them still are, so a lot of the funicular railways are broken. But the one in Saltburn has been running for centuries, which is very, very cool. So this is kind of where I left my A6 rings. I have the cards I was working on here, and then this page is finished, I just didn't print it yet. I have my reading log though, which I did print. So I finished Boys with Sharp Teeth, gave it I think 4 or 5 stars. And then I got an arc for Root Rot, which was really good. Very much recommend that. I think that one releases on the 25th of May. I think I wrote 25th of May. It's so spooky. It's like kind of like a surreal, feverish novella. It's a short story. It follows 9 grandchildren, and they go to their grandfather's lake house for the summer, or for a couple of weeks in the summer, and like the children don't have names, they have nicknames, like the crybaby and the one who runs away. One of them is called the liar, and then there's a baby just called the baby. There's the one with the beautiful voice, like it's very cool, and there's the girl twin and the boy twin, and they are narrating the book as like a unit, like as one mass, like they say we, and it's really interesting. And it's about the forest kind of consuming them. It's really good. It's not very long. I think it's only 150 pages or so, but I had a great time reading it. It's not one I would have chosen like if I saw it in a bookshop, but I applied for the ARC and I was approved, and I read it literally in like one sitting. It was so eerie, like truly it was so creepy. Had a really good time. And I think that's the nice thing about starting to pick up some ARCs, is that it pushes me to read things I maybe wouldn't choose otherwise, and then I'm surprised by how much I enjoy them. So it's nice. I'm now reading Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. You might remember that I bought the paperback version of that like 3 years ago when I first started the channel, I think. Hadn't gotten around to reading it. Finally decided I would. It's really fun, having a great time. I think I have 100 pages left of the first book. There's like 3 or 4 books. And it's great. I'm still waiting to read the next of Gods and Monsters book, the Book of Azrael series, and so I'm reading these knowing they're a series and hoping they'll last long enough together. Although when I looked the other day, I think the release has been pushed, which is devastating. And then I have some thoughts. I have some more oracle cards. I was testing colour, but don't get attached. I was testing the idea of it. I actually coloured all of them, like all 32 cards, or I have 6 left to finish, so I have like 20 something, 25 cards or something like that. And I thought about it for a while. I did this one first and I really liked it, and then I went back and coloured every single one, and it worked for sort of like a third of them, and then the middle third it was like alright, and then the first set, the places, it just wasn't working. So we moved on from that quite quickly, but I will talk about that next as well. And then later that week, my brother and I got matching tattoos. I haven't got a picture of mine because it's gross and healing, and I meant to get another one on Sunday, so I'll wait till everything's healed. But we got matching Animal Crossing tattoos. So he is Boots and I'm Bones. Those are our 2 favourite characters in Animal Crossing, and they have been since we were kids. It's the one game that we've been playing together throughout our lives that we have both been really committed to. I played a lot of Wild World, Luke played a lot of City Folk, we both played New Leaf, and then we both played New Horizons through lockdown together. So when we were thinking about getting matching tattoos for our birthdays, we were like trying to work out what to get, and then suddenly we were like, oh wait, it's an obvious choice. So we have Boots and Bones, and it's really cute. I'm really pleased with how they turned out. Got those on Saturday. Today is Friday, so they're almost a week old. We walked around London for a few hours. My foot is still broken. We walked for way too long, definitely. Actually, we walked from South Bank past the Tate to Covent Garden via like Temple. And by the time we got into Covent Garden, I was like, my foot hurts so bad, and Luke was like, oh, you're limping again. And I had managed to shake the limp, so I definitely messed up there just a little bit. Trying to take it easy now, but it hurts. I'm paying the price. When we were in South Bank, we went to the Tate, stopped in there very briefly so that I could see Maman by Louise Bourgeois. I have been waiting a long time to see her. I was really excited. Big spider sculpture, very, very cool. This is a sticker from the tattoo studio, and then I just have some photos of the spider. Super neat. We looked around in the bookshop for quite a long time and I found this card. It's meant to be a birthday card, but I cut it in half and I popped it in here. I just think the colours are beautiful, and the way that it's like an airbrushed effect, I just think it's very cool. I like it a lot. As soon as I saw it, I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to buy this £4.50 card. There's something about it, I don't know, it feels dreamy, and I'm quite drawn to that kind of stuff at the moment. So that is where I left it. That's where I left my A6 rings. So basically what happened, we might as well do it now quickly. I am at the point where with the 2 books in here and all the pages, I realised that I was going to need to start thinking about archiving soon. I've been keeping an eye out for archive options for true A6 for, I don't know, a couple of months since I started. I think I started end of February, so I've been looking since then. Cannot find anything, especially nothing that I could get in the UK, which is a nuisance. Nothing reliable, which worries me, because then if it's something from like AliExpress, for example, you have no guarantee that you'll be able to buy it again later. So I don't like that. Also, because shopping on AliExpress sucks. So it just sucks, it all sucks. Got a bit nervous, and then because I had come back from a busy weekend again and I was tired and waiting for samples, thinking about the sleep clinic and everything, I started to feel a bit restless, and I was like, okay, what if I just went back to personal? At least with personal, it's like the most standard size. I can get binders from anywhere, like it's a lot easier to manage. So in true me fashion, I was like, I'll just give it a go, see if I can make it work. And then now we're there. I spent, I think Monday, Tuesday, it was a bank holiday weekend in the UK for Easter, and I worked it out. This time I'm drawing true personal size so that I can use dividers and stuff, and it's really fun actually. I've made it work. So we'll have a look at that after we look at the cousin. Again, this is something I'm not particularly worried about, just because the system is exactly the same. There are no gaps in my information or my memories kept. There's no gaps in my weeks or my days or my hours. I've kept consistently every single month. I've kept rings since September. So even though I've been kind of migrating through sizes and testing them out, seeing which one feels best for long term, like I haven't lost anything. And I think in the past when I've talked about my spring spiral and I've been quite upset, which is valid, it's more because of the loss of information and the loss of time. Like if I'm not writing and keeping track of my days, then they're not there, like I don't have them. The nature of my issues mean that if I don't keep the notes and the information very closely, then I literally just have like a gaping black void in my head. Like it's just gone. Like I have no proof that I was here doing anything at all. Like it's just lost. So the fact that I've been keeping my notes routinely since September is great. And then that means that when I change size to, I guess, appease the fixation or to transition through the seasons, like it's fine. I'm not so stressed about it because nothing is missing. So A6 was fantastic. I might return to it, I'm not sure, but the binders were an issue. Well, not the binders, but the archiving. So my little A6 is still in here, but I fell off with this after I got the letter. Things were cute and looking good, and then like I got the letter and I was like, I don't want to write about it. I was keeping this as like a diary, so like more personal thoughts, and obviously the letter was not the news I was hoping for. So like very quickly I just stuck a couple of bits in just to kind of patch the holes a bit, but I was very quickly like, I don't want a diary. Which is fine, because the idea this year is just to have places to dip in and out of as needed, so I'm okay with that. I'm feeling peaceful with that decision. So that's my A6, which will go on the shelf probably for a couple of months. Moving into my Hobonichi cousin then, obviously oracle card progress, lots of stickers. This is still just my workbook really. Here I was waiting for the letter, so there's some work progress, and then I'm not really talking or writing because I was trying very hard not to think about things, the horrors. This is the day, obviously the letter arrived. I stuck it in a couple of days afterwards. Yeah. And then I just have some little bits, thinking eventually a few days later, and then away for the weekend. So I have all of those bits stuck in, kind of layering them up. A lot of it obviously is just my Filofax pages. I stuck another one of the tickets in. I really didn't want to lose this habit, so I came home after that weekend and I dutifully stuck it all in to make sure that I didn't have any huge gaps. So long as I have a little bit of something on every page, I'm okay. I don't want to lose this habit. Again, the colouring for the distraction after I came back, and then I have 2 blank days, and then here's that weekend again. And then we are up to date, so I've been sticking in my true personal size pages, and obviously they look very different. The only paper I could find for true personal that was pre-cut that I could order is a very cream colour. It's not even off-white, it's literally just cream. I think it's nice. To be honest, the ones I was using for the A6 were probably too white. I would prefer something closer to the Hobonichi colour. These were a bit too much, but this one is also too much in the other direction, which isn't ideal for me. But in an effort to not break the habit or like think about it too much and then ditch the book like 2 months in, I was like, do you know what, I will just stick them in and see how I feel. Like, this is not meant to be a perfect book, it's just meant to be like a catalogue, an archive, a documentation of my time and of my work. So I was like, it literally doesn't matter, like, get a grip. So I stuck the new pages in anyway, and I have this sticker on top from Art Studio, and then have a couple more pages. I'm getting another tattoo. Getting vampire teeth, I'm so excited. And then I also got a keyboard. My dad got it for me belatedly for my birthday. So I'm trying to keep up. I think now we're on the 26th, I need to stick a couple more in again. Obviously since the letter arrived, I've not been doing too much in here work-wise, mostly because I was away, and then I did do a lot of work. But I guess for the first couple of weeks, I just did not really want to sit with my thoughts, and so I didn't do a lot of writing, a lot of introspection. Now that the appointment is creeping closer again, I kind of feel similarly, hence why I've stopped writing in the little diary. It's strange because I'm relieved the follow-up will be so soon, and I'm also terrified. Like, no part of me wants to go to that appointment, you know? But we'll see. I'm just letting myself move through it as I need to. So again, not worrying about the changes in paper and size, not worrying about the gaps, not worrying if it's literally just sticking the Filofax pages in, and then we will just see. So then, looking at my new little personal size book, I am a week in, not 2 weeks in. On here I have this star-shaped paperclip that Kat sent me. I added a little coffin with a skeleton charm to it. On this side I have the charms that I've been carrying for a while now, so I have the blackberry and the key and the pearls, and then I added this key ring that I got from Journal Station. I took it off, it was on like a silver keychain, and I took it off and threaded it through on here and it fit. I think it looks super cute. I really like the navy blue of the Lockwood cover with like the pink and purple and gold details. I just think it's nice. I chose the zip around Lockwood cover this time because when I was carrying my A6 in my bag, it was always getting dinged up. My pages were getting crumpled and like they would just get shifted around and a bit sort of curled. This way I can zip it up and everything is kept safely tucked away. Obviously I have a few personal size covers, so it'll be nice to be able to move through them with the year potentially. First page I have a Midori paper, like it comes in the front of the notebooks. I have a sticker, and I have this was from my bread bag, like the date sticker from the bread. This is the day I think I set it up, so I kind of just wanted to, I don't know, thought it would be fun. Have a little mood board and some thoughts, one of Cat stickers, and then this is where my weekly pages will go. I haven't printed them yet. I have printed one half of my media tracking though, so you can see that it looks the same. And that's what I mean about nothing changing. Like, it's such a relief. So this week I'm reading Belladonna still, and I watched The Ninth Gate and Constantine 2005. I have been seeking that comfort. I added that photo from the weekend, and I've just been kind of thinking through the process, kind of thinking about the sleep clinic, and about the stuff I've been talking about with my shrink about it. I have a dream journal entry. I have some notes about my keyboard, and then I have that page you saw for my tattoo that I'm getting on Sunday. I did some stickers on this one. So when I was in my A6 Filofax, the pages were really thin. They were like 80 GSM. These ones are 100 and it's that bit thicker. You still get a bit of colour coming through, which I like, but it's thick enough that I feel like they're more solid, they're more real. So I added some stickers, like they feel solid enough for that. For some reason the A6 ones didn't feel that way to me, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's because they were so see-through and flimsy, but like I didn't always feel like, I don't know, sometimes in a way I felt like I couldn't perceive them properly, if that makes any sense. But these ones feel a bit more solid. So I've been layering some stickers in here like I would in my cousin, and that's quite nice. I like the overlap. And then here is yesterday evening. Oh yeah, because I want to show you. So I have all my blank pages in here, just keeping them safe. And then I bought, because I'm in true personal this time, I can use the Filofax pages, which I could have done before, but they wouldn't have matched. I bought this fold-out calendar, and I'm just using it to track the year in stickers. Like, I just thought it would be really fun, and I need that whimsy in my life right now. That kind of light-hearted activity. I spent one evening catching up on 4 months worth of stickers, and I've just been adding them in and piling them up. All from different places, and it's just really fun. Very wholesome activity, a good use of an evening. I will keep working on that throughout the year. I think I'll probably, like, at the end of every month just come in and add a bunch. Like, I don't think it's a daily activity, but just something that I can come and do. It brings me a lot of joy when I look at it, and therefore I think it's serving its purpose. So that's cool. It's the horizontal fold-out calendar, I think. I also have a vertical one that came with the cover. Not sure what I'm going to use this one for. Maybe like a timeline of the year, so like sticking in pictures of like some key moments from the months or something perhaps. I kept the dot grid paper that came with this book just in case I need some scrap paper. And then I have the dividers that also came with the cover. I bought a contacts insert so that I can keep my friends' addresses. Haven't got any in here yet, I haven't set it up, but I do have stamps for my shop. And then I have, you know, a few more dividers in here. So I'm gonna have a section for the sleep clinic. My shrink gave me homework this week, which is to make notes and questions for my appointment, and then we're gonna go over them before I go. So I think it might help to keep the documentation of how things have been progressing kind of in here. And then I might keep one for like recipes and stuff. I might revisit the autism inserts that I never finished. And then I moved in my old pockets back in the back. And a pencil board. I do believe pencil boards are like the best page lifters. They're just long enough to cover the edges of the rings, and so everything is kept safe and not crumpled. And then in the back I have a Midori sticker transfer notebook. I'm gonna put stickers in there to carry with me, but there's nothing in it just yet. So that's the setup I have in my personal size rings. Enjoying it very much, actually. I'm surprised at how much I like the size and kind of like the cream paper. It just feels a bit easier on the eyes. I didn't actually expect to like it so much. And then the last thing I have to talk about this week, I have stickers from friends that I haven't opened yet because I've been meaning to share them with you guys, but I think the video is already super long, so I'm just going to show you the oracle cards, and then we can talk about some of the other stuff next time. I think I'll do like a big sticker catch up. Let's find a good page. I'll use this one. So I did the colour tests, which I showed you a couple of. These were a couple of the colour tests. These are the stronger ones though, not the weaker ones. I will not show you the weak ones. They were awful. But I wasn't convinced, and so what I did was order them in grayscale. So because I had already spent all of that time colouring every single card, I just flipped them into grayscale to see how they would look. It suddenly occurred to me. And so then I ordered some samples, and this time I ordered 10 samples. So we have a few to look at. And I think they turned out much better. I'm really excited. The project is almost finished. I need to make a design for the back of the cards, and I need to make a little like companion zine to go with it, like a guidebook. And then I have 6 cards left to finish, but it is very nearly there. And I think the grayscale turned out really well. That way I don't lose the detail that I got from adding the colour and sort of like the gradients and stuff, because I did it with kind of like an airbrush tool, or a watercolory looking tool, without it being overwhelming, which is what happened. So I think they're looking pretty good. I'm excited. I'm keeping the colour in the borders obviously because that was part of the initial design and I really like it. But I think the grayscale honestly turned out better than I expected. I'm really pleased. I have a card for the moors, obviously, love of my life, the North York moors. There are crosses, memorial crosses dotted all over the North York moors, so I chose a cross to represent the moors, just because that's the one I'm familiar with. I did a petri dish just because I thought it would be fun to draw. And then I have loss, I added that one recently with some lilies. A cup of coffee. Yeah, I just think it's turning out well. I just wanted to show you. I'm pretty excited about them. And then I have a big stack of sample cards now. So you can kind of get like a vague idea for how it will look when there's like 30 of them. It'll be something similar to this, sort of like this amount of thickness for 32 cards, which is my goal. So not bad. I'll probably put them in sort of like cloth drawstring bags or something like that. I don't think I'll manage to get boxes manufactured, but I think a cloth bag would be quite nice. Maybe I can stamp it or something and that would be cool. But yeah, so that is everything going on, or not going on in equal parts. A lot has happened and also like no progress has been made, so it's been a very strange time. Apologies for the length that I imagine this video is. I hope you were interested in the updates. Hopefully things will level out. Maybe this time next month we might have made some progress. Not sure what my uploads will look like in the next couple of months. It will depend how my appointments go, and what comes of it, I guess. But rest assured, when I accidentally disappear, I'm not quitting. If I was ever gonna truly leave, I would definitely let you know. So I will always come back. Just give me a bit of time, some patience, which you always do. Okay, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.